Hello, I'm Agent Ghost and welcome to the archives. And before we go any further, I just want to give a shout out to all the subscribers out there, all 368 of you as I'm making this video. I very much appreciate it, as well as everyone that's liked and commented on any of my videos. And speaking of which, if you have any builds in mind you might want me to take a look at or go over or anything like that, please leave a comment down below and I read all the comments that I get. So yeah, any suggestions you want or any other content or videos you might want, please let me know down below. Now without further ado, let's see the wrath and power of this Paladin build. Enjoy!
System malfunctioning. Reactor unstable. Emergency lockdown protocols activated. 15 minutes lockdown.
Critical pressure level. To avert catastrophic system failure, system purge required.
An agent needs assistance. System reactivated. Incoming. High-risk hostile.
You just need to vent the remaining plane, and you should be good to go.
High-risk target approaching. Hostile striker drone detected.
Welcome back, and let's move on to the whole build breakdown and how the awesomeness that is this Paladin build really works, alright? Enjoy! Starting things off with the specialization, I'm using the Survivalist specialization for the extra healing it provides, as well as damage or protection from elites, and access to the ability Mender Seeker Mine. We'll go into more detail that later on in the video. Now moving on to the weapons, I'm using the Scorpio Exotic Shotgun as my main weapon. This is my favorite shotgun in the entire game. For the talent Septic Shock, the only thing I want to make note of in the regular attribute, I have re-rolled damage targets out of cover on mine. Just keep re-rolling your Scorpio until you get that is what I'd recommend, because that is the highest multiplicative attribute in the game currently. Now moving on to the talent Septic Shock, and what that does is shooting a target applies a stack or stacks of venom which lasts for 10 seconds. Increasing stacks adds more severe debuffs to the target. At 1 shot to the target, you will apply poison. 3 shots to the target, you'll apply disorientate, which basically they're covering their head and walking in a random direction and unable to shoot you because they're disorientated. And then at 6, it applies shock, which just basically stuns them. They can't move or shoot at you. And then finally, at the 7th shot that you apply to the target, takes an additional 20% damage from all sources. Stacks no longer increase. The duration of the status effects is based on the percentage of pellets hit on the applying shot. So just boom. The most important feature, especially when you're in a group, is that plus 20% damage from all sources. Just crazy. So if somebody's running a high damage build, and I'll show what all 3 of those look like in practice right now. But when somebody's running an all damage build, you can make it to where multiple people shooting at the target plus 20% damage all around. It's just crazy. So when I shoot once, there's the poison. 2 more times, so 3 in total. There's the disorientate. You can see the swirly circle above their head. Now 3 more times, 6 in total. There's shock, so that now they would be stunned. And then that last final time, I have an extra shot, but that last final time means they're taking 20% extra damage from all sources. So you basically want to hit them with all 7 shots in total to get all the status effects applied. Now, moving on to my secondary. The secondary I'm using is the Grudge named SMG. You can get this from Farming Countdown. You can basically use whatever you want, assault rifle, SMG, or what have you, in this slot, but I prefer having the Grudge because this is my new favorite SMG in the game, as well as I think it just has an amazing synergy with the Scorpio shotgun for the talent Perfect Vindictive, and we'll go over that in just a sec. You can pause and take a look at the core attributes, but again, I want to make note that I have plus 10% damage targets out of cover in the regular attribute rolled, and now for the talent Perfect Vindictive. And what that does is killing an enemy with a status effect applied grants you and all allies within 20 meters plus 18% crit hit chance and plus 18% crit hit damage for 20 seconds. So boom, you can help your allies all the more with this whole Paladin build, and yourself with more crit hit chance and crit hit damage. And again, that's why I think it has great synergy with the Scorpio. So if I were to apply my status effects and switch, I might not be able to kill it in time just because it's a named enemy. I was so close though. But if I were able to kill them just in time, like I almost did, then I'd be able to get Perfect Vindictive. Here, let me get this. Nope, just barely in time. But you'd be able to apply Perfect Vindictive on most enemies, and for you and your allies, which just pairs so nicely with it. So, under the mods, you can copy and paste, take a look if you want. Please pause and do so. But those are the mods I'm using. Now moving on to the pistol I'm using, or the sidearm. Now, you can use, again, whatever pistol you really want here. It doesn't have to be this, but this, again, I feel like optimized and fits really well with the rest of the build. So I'm using the TDI card custom named pistol. Unfortunately, you can only get this from the Dark Zone. It's a Dark Zone exclusive, so you have to get it there, or Dark Zone vendors, or named caches, and conflict caches, I think, are the only way you can get this pistol. But again, you don't have to use this. Now, I'm using it in the core attribute. You get +1 skill tier, and that is why I'm using it. So it gives our skills another skill tier. But you have to keep in mind that you have to have the pistol equipped. So I have to have it equipped now, before I'd be able to get that +1 skill tier. So you can't just be using your grudge and having it in your sidearm slot. You actually have to pull it out and shoot with it, which is okay. I use it for burst healing, and we'll go into more detail that in the skills later. But again, for burst healing under talents, I have reformation, which headshots grant plus 30% skill repair for 15 seconds, which is just crazy helpful with our healing when, again, we want more burst healing. And again, you don't have to get a headshot kill. It's just hitting a shot on an enemy's head, and then for 15 seconds you get plus 30% skill repair. Now, for some reason it doesn't, if I switch to it, it doesn't work on targets, practice dummies at the shooting range. I don't know why, but it just doesn't proc off of that. But regular enemies, it definitely does proc off of, and it's very beneficial, again, if you want some burst healing. Now, there are the mods if you want to pause, take a look, and copy and paste. All right, now moving on to the gear. So I'm going to start things off. The exotic helmet I'm using is the Catharsis helmet, and we'll go into that right now. So in the core attribute, I have 170,000 armor, and the regular attribute, I have plus 20% incoming repairs and 4,925 armor regen. Those stats will always be the same no matter which Catharsis you get. They just might not be fully maxed. And then in the mod slot, I have plus 20% incoming repairs. Now keep in mind that the incoming repairs this provides and the regular attributes will only affect our vicious cycle. It will not affect our healing. So keep that in mind. If you want, you can put on repair skills or crit hit chance or crit hit damage if you want. Not as big a deal, but just a general rule of thumb. When you have a Catharsis and you put that extra 20% incoming repairs, it just makes you that much more survivable and tanky, and it's just amazing. So moving on to why I'm using it, the talent Vicious Cycle. And what that does, taking damage builds stacks up to a cap of 30. Each stack grants 1% weapon damage. Taking damage at max stacks triggers a purge, removing all stacks and status effects, and then dropping a healing cloud, which restores 5% of max armor for 10 seconds to all allies in the cloud. So boom, another source for us with this Paladin build to be able to heal our allies, and I really wanted to try and incorporate some decent healing. It's not going to be amazing, but some decent healing, because that's why I wanted to theme this off of like a Paladin playstyle. Now, moving on, I'm using the Gilligard named chess piece Point Man, and I'm using that for the talent Perfect Vanguard, which we'll go over in a second. In the Gilligard brand set bonus, it gives us plus 5% total armor, which we want to get our armor up as much as we can. In the core attribute, I have 167,000 armor. You can get maxed out to 170,000. In the regular attributes, I have plus 6% crit hit chance, plus 10.4% crit hit damage, and a plus 12% crit hit damage mod. Just throw on the highest crit hit damage mod you have available. Now again, I'm using this for the talent Perfect Vanguard. Deploying a shield makes it invulnerable for 5 seconds, which is amazing, and grants plus 50% of your armor as bonus armor to all other allies for 20 seconds. The cooldown is 25 seconds. So there's a 5-second downtime between you can have bonus armor active and up for you and your allies, which is just crazy. Now I want to keep in mind the bonus armor only applies to only activates when you're in a group with people. For some reason, when I played solo and everything, it doesn't seem to proc the bonus armor for me, which is a little sad. But like, say I have 1.8 million armor right there in the bottom left, you can see half of that would be 900,000 bonus armor that I can provide as for my allies and myself, which is just crazy. The invulnerability for the shield for 5 seconds, solo or group content, still works though. I just wanted to preface and give everyone a note that the 50% bonus armor only seems to proc when you're in a group, which is unfortunate. Now, moving on to the backpack, I'm using the Leviswa. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I apologize if I butchered that, but the electric name backpack. And in the brand set bonus, it gives us plus 10% status effects, which isn't a big deal, but it does help with our Scorpio shotgun. And then in the core attribute, I have 165,000 armor, regular attribute plus 12% crit hit damage, 4.5% crit hit chance, and a 13% protection from elites mod. Just throw on the highest protection from elites you have in there. And then in the talent, I have Perfect Galvanize, what that does is applying a blind, ensnare, confuse, or shock to an enemy grants 50% of your armor as bonus armor to you and all allies within 30 meters of that enemy for 10 seconds. Now, I don't know the exact cooldown on this because it doesn't seem to list it, but you can activate this pretty consistently, and this will apply with your Scorpio. And that's why, I'm using the Scorpio, not just to apply all those debuffs, but to be able to proc Perfect Galvanize as much as possible. And this does work for solo or group content. You will get this bonus armor regardless of what you're doing, so it is very handy for that as well. But that's another 50%, so boom. We now are giving our allies 1.8 million extra bonus armor when we have both of these active, which is just crazy. Just insane. Big part of the support and survivability of this Paladin build. Now, you can also get your armor higher up. Like when I was experimenting with this build, I got it to 2.2 million armor, but I decided to sacrifice that 400,000 armor to have more healing, because once the bonus armor is shot through, which on higher like heroic countdowns or level content that you're helping your teammates with or yourself, once that bonus armor is gone, you really don't have as much survivability. So I wanted to, again, match the theme of a Paladin build as well as have more sustainability and survivability with healing. So now moving on to the gloves, I'm using the Uzina gloves for the 5% total armor it provides as well. That's mainly why I'm using it. Now in the core attribute, I have 170,000 armor, and the regular attributes I have plus 6% crit hit chance and plus 10.3% crit hit damage. Now for the holster, I'm using the Picar's holster, meta holster, because of in the regular attribute, they will always roll a plus weapon damage stat in the regular attribute, which is just amazing. I have plus 15% there, but in the core attribute, I have 154,000 armor. And in the regular attribute, I've rolled plus 20% repair skills to, again, help out our healing when we are providing healing with our Secret Mender Mine or whatever healing skill you would like to use. And then again, once again, the plus 15% weapon damage for more damage. Now, in my knee guards, this is where I've done some experimenting, but I ultimately ended up with the Alp Summit knee guards for the plus 20% repair skills on the brand set bonus, again, to apply more healing. Plus 1 skill tiers, which will provide to all our skills. Again, that tier 2, should be at tier 1. Hang on. There we go. I don't have the pistol out, so it's tier 1. It gives plus 20% healing and radius right there, just to give an example. And then the regular attributes, I have 17.7% repair skills and plus 12% crit hit damage for more damage output. Now moving on to the shield, the skills, and then we can go over stats and final gameplay footage. So I'm using the Crusader Ballistic Shield, so that way Point Man, when we deploy our shield, we get the bonus armor and invulnerability. So we need a shield for this build to do that. I'm using the Crusader, so I can still use Scorpio and SMG and all our weapons with it. There are the stats if you want to pause, copy, and paste. And then in the skill tier, I'm able to achieve tier 6 because of the armor cores, since for shields, armor cores apply for the tier, as well as skill tiers. So we're still able to get tier 6 because of this bonus skill tier. Now, that gives us plus 60% active regeneration, plus 250% shield health, and plus 40% holstered regeneration. There are the mods if you want to copy and paste what I have. And now to the Secret Mender Mine. Now, there are the stats once again if you want to copy and paste, or pause and take a look, my mistake. And then in the skill tier, I have plus 2, which again, or plus 1. You can get to plus 2 though by equipping the TDI card custom, which will now make it a tier 2. There you go. Now I have plus 40% healing and plus 10% radius. And again, if you get headshots with the talent Reformation, that's plus 30% skill repair on top of it. But what that looks like is, let me take damage real quick. Boom, and you can see this aura all around me. That's healing me. And with the pistol on, I'm getting plus 40% healing. And it's doing a pretty good job of getting my 1.8 million health up. Like I'm already more than halfway, and then it just procced again. Which really helps when I deploy my shield again. I deployed it. It's invulnerable for 5 seconds. You can see the extra people. It's gone now. But it doesn't apply the bonus armor when I'm by myself, which is just weird. But it's still helpful to have the shield out, and then you can shoot this, and then again the Reformation won't proc off of target dummies. But that's essentially how the Seeker Mind will work. And you can tap the ability again to, like, say this is an ally. You can tap it and it will go over and start healing them. And you just double tap the button if you want it to come back and be focusing on you. A good way is you can see that line on my shoulder right there, that with the green circle, that means it's targeting me. And when it's on that green line circle is on somebody else, that's who they're targeting. Now, that's pretty much it for the abilities. The only thing I might mention is, again, experiment, have fun, use my builds as just a base template to, like, I want to go over all this disclaimer for all my builds. Please use my build, this build, especially all my builds as a base template to start at, experiment, and have fun, because that's kind of the whole point of the game. So change the specialization, weapons, gear, or skills, what have you. Just, yeah, try and have fun at the end of the day. Now, if you want something a little bit more bursty, you can use, like, the chem launcher or restore hiver skill, but you're going to be waiting on your skills to come back a lot. It's going to be more burst healing to where everyone just needs a quick heal, and then you're going to be waiting for like another 30 to 60 plus seconds to get that ability back. While this is more consistent, so you can play around and have fun, but I like the Secret Mender Mine because you can throw it out, put it on someone, keep it on yourself, and forget about it essentially, and it's just one less thing to have to worry about. Now moving on to the stats, and then we can move over to the final gameplay footage. So under weapon stats, I have 93,000 weapon damage on my Grudge SMG. I think I have some stacks built up from taking damage from Vicious Cycle, so that might be closer to like 89,000 weapon damage without Vicious Cycle, but that's where it's at right now. 57.5% crit hit chance. Just try and aim for as close to 60%. Close to 60% crit hit chance as you can, since that's the cap for SMGs. You always want it as close to 60 as you can. So you might have to change out some crit hit chance mods or crit hit damage mods for crit hit chance stats if you need to. 106% crit hit damage, 70% headshot damage, as well as damage targets out of cover that I've rolled on my guns. Now on the offensive, I have 47% all weapon damage bonus. We're not using assault rifles, 30% SMG damage bonus, and 50% shotgun damage bonus. We've already gone over the gear, talents, and brand set bonuses. So under defense, I have 1,785,000 armor. In the bottom left, you can see 1.8 million, but that's the exact number. Because of Catharsis, 4,925,000 armor regen. Not that great, but that's what we have from it. 333,000 max health, plus armor regen's not the point of this build. And that's pretty much it for the build. So everyone, please take care. Have a great, wonderful rest of your day or night. Hang on, I'm just trying. There we go. Everyone, please take care. Have a great, wonderful rest of your day or night. Thanks for watching. Be safe and bye.